Okay, I'm going to just shoot a quick video to help first answer some questions about people who've asked questions about the paper. So the paper you need to write is about 10 pages. So it's a significant bit of writing for many of you as undergrads. 10 pages. Okay, you've got to address and create rules for life, right? So I'm going to talk more about this when we get to Spinoza's part 5, which I'll do actually this week and next week. But you need to come up with some rules to live by. And those rules to live by have to be things that you will always do. 5 of them. 5, I will always, and 5, I will never. I understand that in real life, it's very, very difficult to have always and nevers. Fine. But for the purposes of this paper, I want you to think in terms of always and never. So for instance, I will always tell the truth, or I will never tell a lie, which are not necessarily the same thing. Or you might say, I will always wake up at 6 a.m. I don't know why you would have that rule, but maybe that's a rule. And then you would say, okay, here's my rule. I will always, and you describe your rule, explain it, or list it. And then you're going to take all of the key words and explain them and define them, right? By lie, I mean this. By tell, I mean this, right? Tell doesn't just apply to what I say with vocally, but it can also be writing, it can be signing, it can be gestures, it can be body language. I will not communicate in any general way. That's what I mean when I say. And a lie is any falsehood, or it's any, and then you got to define what it is to tell a lie. And then the third thing you'll do. So the first thing you'll do, you'll give me the rule. Second thing you'll do, you'll define all of the key terms in your rule. And the third thing you'll do is you'll give me explanation for the rule. Here's how it works. This is what I mean by it. And the fourth thing you will do will be give me examples. Here's how it works in real life. Now, in your explanation, I want you to do 2 things. 1, I want you to explain the rule. And 2, I want you to deal with objections people might have to your rule. What are people going to say that that's not a good rule to live by? You got to come up with some objections and you got to deal with them. And then in your examples, you've got to make sure that you clearly illustrate your rule. Now you're going to do that 10 times. It's a lot. I'd be surprised if you can get it all in 10 pages. So you're going to have to be careful. You're going to have to work through drafts. You're going to have to be concise. I might reduce, I'm going to think about this. In fact, I'm just going to tell you this right now. 3 rules for I will always, and 3 rules for I will never, because otherwise it's just going to be too much to write. You should refer during your explanation to the things we have talked about in class and read in class. Now remember, the purpose of this paper is not to convince me that you've got the best rules in the world, although that's, it should be there. The purpose of this paper is for you to show me that you have paid attention, that you have read the text that I've assigned you, and that you've thought about the material we have covered in class. I don't want you to give me the 10 Commandments or something your pastor said or your rabbi said or your imam said or your Buddhist coach or your life master or that you read in some other self-help book. I want you to refer to and support your rules on the stuff we've done this term. You can cite me. You can cite Heidegger, you can cite Kant, you can cite Spinoza, you can cite Nietzsche. I already did talk about Epictetus. I'm going to talk a little bit more about Aristotle some. So you need to refer to the people that I have covered with you. The point of this paper, I just want to make this super, super clear. The point of this paper is for you to prove to me that you've paid attention to the stuff I've been trying to cover with you. Okay? You might think, but you'd be wrong. You might think the point of this paper is for you to figure out rules to live by. That is secondary. The point of this paper is for you to prove to me that you have paid attention to the stuff we've read. So you'd better refer to the stuff that we've read as much as you can, as appropriate as anything you can find that's appropriate, and often in your paper. If I don't see any quotes from Heidegger or Spinoza, if I don't hear you referring in any way to something I've covered in class, in a video, in even one of the quizzes or the discussion boards, if you're not citing to the stuff we've covered in class, you're gonna get an F. Can I make that more clear? You have got to refer to the material we've read in class. Got it? Okay.